Alrighty, so here we are with Vision. Um, Whenever I drag it out onto the canvas, it is back front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this in my preview, hold shift, make sure I lock it into place, and press store. Right? So let's take a look. Okay. Alrighty, so just gonna make some overall adjustments. Alrighty. And fix this hand right here. Sloping a little bit too much. So I'm going to bring that up and bring that back. And use my inflate brush to make sure I don't lose any width in these fingers. These fingers. Alright. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the skull in the head, right? So we're going to add a dummy mesh, Cube 3D, click on Cube 3D, get my brush, skeleton, right? I'm going to select the skull, drag it out onto my canvas. Okay. And then going to split hidden, and then geometry, just to double check. Okay, so there's nothing there. Okay. So we're going to go to my subtool, turn off the box, and activate my symmetry. Drag an action line, press the white button, or the white circle, and then move this guy into place. White button again, and shrink it down. Back. Alright, so there might be a problem. Let's see if there is. Yeah, you were off symmetry. Alright, so first thing I would do is mirror and weld this guy. You can see how off you are on him. Alright, so hopefully that'll solve some problems for you. Okay. So now we got him where we need him to be. Okay, so go back to my skull, turn on transparency. And try to put him in roughly into place. Right, so now we can take a look at our skull shape and see where we're missing stuff, right? Go back here and adjust it. Okay, your ear's too far back, so move that forward. Right. And then we can see the problems here, right? First off, we got two noses. But we'll fix that. It's no worries. All right. Smooth that out. And now what I'm doing is just going around and making sure that all my shapes are there, right? So my brow is gone. So I want to fix that and then smooth out the forehead. Build up the brow again. Fix that bridge of the nose. What I mean by that is bringing it back, right? So you can see that, right? What we had and what we definitely want. And then just start moving everything into place. Alrighty, so now I'm going to fix the top of this head. It's resting a little bit too high. And then fixing the back here. And if I go too far, just using the move brush and putting it back into place. Right. So re-dynamesh it. Maybe go up to 256. No. I think what I'll do at this point is I'll just zero mesh it because I don't want to deal with any of this Dynamesh stuff right now. So what I'm doing is just smoothing this out to ensure that it doesn't confuse the remesher and give me messed up geometry. Right, so gonna move this into place closer to the skull. Smooth that out. Alright, so bring this neck back and then smoothing that out. Alright, so gonna smooth that and look at it from the top. And we can pull that in on the sides. Alrighty, and then give him a bit of a chin. Just make sure we separate that from the barrel of the mouth. There we go. Alrighty, digging in the eyes. So now we know where to put the eyeballs, right? So going to append that. Activate my symmetry. Get it in the right. Then I turned off symmetry. And try to get it towards roughly the right size of an eye. It's still a bit too large. There we go. All right, put that. Roughly where it needs to be, right about there. And what we can do is turn off the body and just have the skull so we can see if our eye is too large or not, and it's not, so we'll mirror and weld it. And roughly put it into place, right? So now we can go back. So what I like to do is I'm going to turn transparency off for a bit. This is how I like to sculpt my eyes, right? So I'm going to sculpt over it. All right, so we already have that going for us. And then we get a bit more resolution before we do that. Yeah, let me. Sorry to tease you on that one, but let's get the rest of the body planned out before we move on. Okay. It's very important. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go to my dummy mesh right here. Go to my skeleton brush, and the next thing I want to grab are the ribs. That. And split hidden. And move this into shape now, right? So I'm going to rotate it. And on this, I definitely want symmetry. Turn transparency on. All right, and then, so this is a chromium process I keep referring to right here, right on top. Okay. So now that we have that roughly in place, let me move it back a bit. Okay. So now we can see the work that we need to do to get this rib cage into shape, right? Just there we go. Right about there. Alrighty, so we're gonna turn transparency off. So now we know where our clavicle is, right? Go here, transparency. Turn on my rib cage. And just fill in the area, right? Mark in this pit of the neck right here. And smooth that out. Right, so now we know this sternomyoclastoid attaches there. And attaches right here to this bone, right? Now we know that our traps come from the base of our skull. And that there's an empty space right here. right? And I'm going to try to get as close to this bone as I can, right? Because there's nothing on top of it. So I'm digging in until I hit it. And then going to dig around it as well. Make sure, leave space in there. Turn off transparency a bit. Just so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, so now we can fix the shape of the chest. So we can see it's out a bit too much. So we're going to bring it in. And we're going to raise this right here. And move that out. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is make sure that the chest muscles are in between the fourth and fifth, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to move the chest up here. So move that, and I'm gonna put this as close to the ribcage as I can, just so I can get all the shapes there. All right, so now that we're looking at it from this angle, we can see it's way too high off of the chest. And bring that back. Smooth it out. Bring this down. Make sure it's laying right on the clavicle. Now we can see that the shoulder is a little bit too forward, so bring that back. And also bring it in a bit. Okay. Okay. So then we're gonna beef this up right here. And so now we can start sculpting the chest a bit more. Alright, so I'm gonna separate the shoulder from the chest a bit more. Okay. Alright, so now we know that we have some problems with our neck here. It's a bit too forward. There's too much going on there. Need to tame it back. And also need to separate the jaw from the throat here. Okay, so now we can start sculpting the chest muscles. So it kind of comes out in a fan like this. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. That. And just right. So can you see that? And smooth it out. Okay, so now we just got some size issues with the head. Right, it's a little too large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go transpose master right here. Z plugin transpose master. Press T-pose mesh. And going to get my mask lasso so I get more organic selection. Ready? Invert that. Feather the selection. Make sure I don't have anything abnormally unmasked or masked. Okay. Bring everything back. Activate symmetry. Put it right in the center. There we go. That's a bit better. Now his neck's a bit too long. I'm just going to bring that down a bit. Okay. That's much better. Maybe a bit too small. Maybe. Yeah, that's a bit better. Alrighty. So now I'm going to go to Z plugin T-pose sub T. Alright, so this thing didn't transfer over because it saw it as being hidden as instead of being split. I don't know. It does that sometimes. So I'm just going to eyeball it in there. Alrighty. Okay. So now we can start focusing on the upper body, make sure it's all there. So I'm going to bring this neck forward a bit. Okay. So let's see, where can we start? Let's start on the body. Well, let's start by zero meshing it. I think we're there. Okay, that's good. Let's fix these mangled ass fingers. Oh. And just bring that out a bit. Okay, now we'll see. Alrighty, so now let's start getting our polygroups done. Alrighty, so let's fix this torso, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subdivide this. And I'm going to mark out this rib cage. And you can end it into the scapula right here. So now we know that our stomach's coming out a bit too much. Go down to a low subdivision level and we can affect that area a bit more aggressively. Gonna give my damn standard and mark from top to bottom. Mark in my clavicle right here. And you do have the curse and the luxury of sculpting every form, right? Because vision is very anatomy based. It's all muscles and skin tight suits and all that, right? That means you also gotta know your anatomy as well. So, like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. Alright, so losing a bit here. Going to dig that back in. This is getting too puffy. And smooth that out. Reinforce that pit of the neck. And the Adam's apple goes into that. And Gonna fix this calf right here. Gonna round it out a bit more and make sure that his Achilles heel's a little bit more towards the center. And whenever we're looking at our feet, I'm gonna turn transparency off. Got our instep, then heel, and then down as it goes to the pinky toe. And fix that wobble wobble. Okay, and the next thing we want to fix says Achilles heel is missing. It should be a straight line pretty much. So I'm going to pull that out. Alright, gonna fix this. And the angle's more up here than it is in the middle, right? Closer to the hip. And fix that so it should be a straight line down. Oops. And then it goes in. Oops. And then goes straight line, right? So boom, boom, boom. Right, so down to, now we just need the straight line. And now we can see all the wobble that we have in the bottom of the foot. So what we're going to do is get our clip curve and just flatten that out. Right, and if it's too thin, we can grab our mask pen, grab the bottom of that, invert it, and then extend it a bit more, right? There we go. Right, so now looking at this, we know that the legs are a bit too long, right? So this hit is in the right, it's almost in the right place, but it should be a little bit higher. And add some more mass right here. It's getting too thin. Right, and the knee is a bit too thick. Bring that in. Beef that out, right? So I'm going to press W. I'm going to click that, right? So I'm clicking that polygroup. So it's going to mask that for me. And it's a bit too long. So I'm going to shorten them up a bit with the move brush, and then also reduce this as well. If we're a bit too long. Okay. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark in my lats. Alright. So going to take out the lazy radius and mark it in, right? So let me get my reference out. Get some Snickers or Do-si-dos, you know, some Girl Scout cookies, you know what I'm saying? A little snackage. Just one because I don't want to lose my girlish figure. Oh, Mary. So good. Says it touches your lips. It's so good. Alrighty, so his shape was incorrect. We're gonna go like this and then come around. Right there, okay? The next thing I'm gonna do is fix this lat shape. You can see it's really heavy in the back. So going to even this out a bit more. And up the resolution so my smooth brush isn't so aggressive. Alrighty, okay. Fill in this area a bit more. There we go. And fill in that area too. Smooth that out. I'm gonna turn my transparency back on. And so here we go. All right, so going to have that shape. It's like it's almost like a spoon. And then the shoulder muscle goes over that, right? Try this off so you can see better. And it's all attaching to this little ridge right here. Bring everything back. And gonna attach shoulder muscle right there. All the way around, right? Makes it very easy for us to have the skeleton in there. Right. So the neck's a little too thin for a guy this size. There we go. So he's in that skull shape. Ready, and then separate the mandible from the neck. Just a bit more. There we go. And just digging in this area around the temple and the zygomatic. And so now we're going to fix the shape of this shoulder a bit. Right. And going to use my move brush. And my damp standard. And make sure to mark in all that good stuff. Alright, so there's going to be a depression right around here. It's going to be a little diamond. And we're going to add some mass right here. Coming from the spine, not over the spine, but and smooth it out. And the next shape we're going to create is coming from here, right? From the clavicle, from the bottom of it. Smooth that out. Then it disappears right in there. And the next thing we're going to do is straighten out this lower back because it's a little too curved. Alrighty, so alrighty, so now we can get back here. Okay, so we can put in our erector muscles and secondary, smooth it out. Okay, I'm going to go back to my dummy mesh. Going to grab my skeleton brush. Going to grab my pelvis. Split hidden. Go here. Split hidden. Just to make sure. Rotate it. And I'm just going to go here to preview just so I can get a quick overall rotation. And turn on my symmetry. White dot to get it right in the center. And get it roughly into place. And it's going to be rotated a bit. Roughly going to put that into place. It's tilted a bit too much, something like that. Okay. So I'm going to unify this just to make sure that it's in the center. Because it looked a little off center. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to bring that guy back. And I'm going to start moving this into place. Make sure I got that hip right there. Alright, so now that I have that there, I know that my obliques can come from there. And they just originate from there as well. So you can follow them all the way along the hip. Okay, so you just make sure that shape is consistent all the way up to the ribs. We want this a bit more forward. And the next shape we're going to get is for the serratus muscles. So about halfway to right here. You're going to add a little mass. And I'm just going to beef up these pecs a bit more. Alright, so now we know we can raise this. Alrighty. Alrighty. So now we can mark in the abs right here. So we can do a line down the center. Generally, it's not straight up and down, but it's just to mark things in. So the first set of muscles is going to be right here. Yeah. Then the next set is going to be off of the rib cage. Right here. the second. And 1, 2, 3, and then the last one. Alrighty. That's how we get started on using the skeleton. Just start planning out your forms and shapes. This area right here. I would just fix by adding some more space or some more meat on the inside. Or then your biceps a little too thin. Fix that. Ready. So, and then I would just ease the transitions here. Right, so the chest over here goes over the bicep, right? And this should connect right there. Tricep goes up into there. Alrighty, so just fixing some shapes. Alrighty, so for the legs and the back, you can look at the other videos. I go into those pretty extensively. But what I wanted to focus on for you was the shoulders and the neck, and the torso, and how to use that skeleton brush. And so, yeah, let's look at what we had. All right. Let's be fair. Okay. So we had that. Now we got this, right? So definitely write any questions that you have in the forums or in this post. Make sure to give it a like. Make sure to subscribe. And let me know if these videos can be helpful in any other ways. Or if there's anything that you want me to do more of, like drawovers or whatnot. So, Thank you very much, and I will see you in class.